salon owners and hairstylists, they're going to walk away with the knowledge of how they can start protecting their business, their
Mhm.
staff,
Mhm.
and then the stylist can protect themselves and create an amazing experience for the client. Welcome to the Salon Owner's Holistic Blueprint, your podcast for unlocking the secrets to a thriving salon business through holistic practices. I'm Jacqueline Rodriguez, your host, and join me each week as we explore wellness, sustainability, and business success. Everything from attracting conscious clients to adopting eco-friendly practices. We're going to cover it all to elevate your salon business. Salon owners and hairstylists, they're going to walk away with the knowledge of how they can start protecting their business, their
Mhm.
staff,
Mhm.
and then the stylist can protect themselves and create an amazing experience for the client. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Holistic Blueprint podcast. And today is another amazing salon owner who is doing wonderful, eco, clean, sustainable things with her salon. And this is Melissa Parker. She's going to come up and talk to us about her salon that she started with her best friend, Easton. And they founded Scissors Salon and Apothecary, San Diego's first zero waste salon, in October of 2010. So she has been in the game for quite a while, and I'm really excited to talk to you about all these amazing things that I get to see on your social media and
Mhm.
what you've been doing. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful and honored that you have us on your podcast. Thank you.
Yes, of course. I've been following you and seeing all the things because we got connected through the Green Beauty community, which is such an amazing place. I'm so excited to be a part of that. And the best thing about that is, like it says, a community. We get to
It- yeah,
be around like-minded people, and
yeah.
we all support each other and share and
Mhm.
create this type of energy that is just unmatched. I
Yeah.
really, really enjoy it.
It's my favorite place to be able to like talk shop and like, because, the thing with sustainability is like, there's no perfect answer. There's only like better answers, right? Like you can't do it perfectly. And if you try, it's just this impossible upheaval of how am I supposed to do anything? So, like, it's just how can we do better? How can we progress? Is like, are we doing it to the best of our capabilities? And so, it's always my favorite place to be able to figure out any places that we can grow, no matter how big, how small, and just make more of an impact as much as we can.
Exactly. And that's, when I got started, the sustainability and clean beauty part, I mean, it really can be a daunting task as a salon owner,
Absolutely.
right? Because we're already doing 50 million other things, just trying to run a regular salon.
So true.
I know. And when I started, I was trying to be perfect. Things really bothered me if it wasn't a certain way. And I had to learn how to be okay with just
Uh,
learning and evolving,
yeah.
or I was going to burn myself out.
Totally, totally. Or like I don't know if you ever have experienced this part, but like the anxiety spiral of like you just get sucked into a place that is it should feel uplifting, it should feel positive, it should feel like you're doing good. And instead it kind of just feels like I'm not doing enough when like you have to be able to make space for growth and that you are doing what you can.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I felt that spiral many times. To
Yeah.
be honest and transparent, like there in the beginning, I was so overly invested that I
Mhm.
almost said, okay, I can't do this. This is too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not
I,
good for anyone.
no, it's really not because like even I mean even if you're doing anything, you're doing something, that's still better than doing nothing, right? So like if you're somebody who's just doing what you feel comfortable with, that's great. I would definitely encourage people to do start where you're at, do what you can, and if you feel called to do more, then do more.
Yeah, I read this book called The Compound Effect, and
Ooh,
I
I
can't
have not
remember
read that.
I can't remember his name. I can see him. I'll have to put it in the show notes, but I read The Compound Effect, and I actually took his whole course on how to run your business. Um, this was like 10 years ago. Uh,
Mhm.
and that idea of the compound effect really stuck with me. Every little thing that we're doing is building on itself. And
Yes.
truthfully, anyone who's doing even the smallest of things
Yes.
by like unplugging their appliances before they leave
Mhm.
or changing out the LED, changing out regular
Mhm.
light bulbs to LED light bulbs, or just getting rid of one toxic product in their
Yep.
salon, or wearing
Yep.
gloves.
Yeah. Or where we go.
these, these little things that seem insignificant have a huge compound effect when you add them all together.
They
And
do.
then, yeah, go ahead. No.
And you never know who they influence to make of the ripple go even further.
Yeah. Yeah. Because as salon owners, we affect our stylists and the clients and their family. And then
Mhm.
the more that our stylists are in tune and understanding and invested in the bigger mission, the
Yeah.
more that they even impact the clientele and
Mhm.
then, directly their families
Yeah,
and so on. So
yeah,
it really does have this huge ripple effect.
it does. I'm excited to look into that book. I haven't even heard of it, so
Yeah,
I'm excited to check it out.
I I can see him. I'll look it up and I'll
Okay.
get it to you. um, but tell me a little bit about why you and your best friend got started and really wanted to build this type of business, because it does take a whole new approach to our industry.
It really does. When we were, so we opened and during the Great Recession, me and my best friend, and in 2010, and we had always felt like we were eco-friendly. Like that was a big part of our mission. We wanted to be like philanthropic and do the best that we could with, again, what we knew. And we had partnered with a big company who is known to be a bit more philanthropic. And when we came to 2019, we kind of felt like we wanted something that was refillable. And like, there's no reason why, like, why can't we just get this product so that we could refill these bottles instead of like not?
Yeah.
And so we approached them actually, and we made this, we shot for the moon, right? Like, so we made this brilliant plan. We met with headquarters, corporate, and like told them all these ideas, and they were kind of like, um, we don't think that we're going to go in that direction, which was really disheartening because they have the means to do it. And so it took us a minute to like, okay, well, if they won't, we know we're dedicated. We know we want to. It feels like the right decision for us. So we are going to make that change. And so it really started with our products because those are the most plastic that goes out the door. We wanted to be responsible for like these corporations put the responsibility of waste onto the consumer, and we wanted to take that back. Like it is our responsibility with what leaves our space. So um, we decided to look for something for Zero Waste Salon as a model to like what are they doing, what's working for them, how can we do this, and we could not find one anywhere. Like at all. And so we just looked to other zero waste stores and see the things that they were doing and how they did it, and step by step, like thing by thing. I think we started with the biggest bulk of things, like the thing that was going to make the most impact quickest. And then piece by piece, we're like, okay, how do we do this better? How do we do this more sustainable? And kind of bricklayered it into what it is now. And we've been able to reduce our waste 99%. All of our products in our salon, in our apothecary area, are toxin free. We vet all of those. Our color is low toxin. It's never going to be non-tox, but we have a lot of practices that keep our clients and our staff safe. And even just like a commercial air purifier in the salon, like it's just such an easy no-brainer to just make a little bit of a difference. And so that's
I
where we
love
are
that.
today.
Well, but congratulations on listening to your intuition,
Thank you.
listening to what you really, really wanted, even though you didn't see that being modeled.
It was, so I remember Eason calling me one day. We had been talking about this and going back and forth, and we were quite successful with what we were doing and how we were doing it. So, that was our market at that point. We were going to be making this large shift because it kind of fit with what our core values, which isn't always what they teach you to do in business classes. You're not really doing it, supposed to do it for yourself, right? But I remember her asking me, like, should we do this? Are you okay with doing this? Are you sure? And I was like, I know in my heart this is the right decision. And like, I know you feel that same way too. So we just got to see where this goes. And it has been one of my favorite decisions that we have made.
So tell me a little bit about that decision, and was it scary? Because you said that you already had a successful model, right? What was your model before you decided to change over?
We were it was traditional model. We were partnered with this company. So like we did things that were like eco waste. Like we've always just had rolled washcloths in our bathroom um, instead of paper towels. So we like always have done things of that nature. But Easton had watched a podcast or a documentary, and it had something to do with the amount of plastic that is being produced and how it's finding its way into the ocean and everything. And forgive me for not recalling which one it was, but one of the ties that has always binded us is like we kind of like get inspired with each other's passions, and like especially when we connect, and we always like are continuously wanting to grow and are excited about um, personal development. And so she started talking about this podcast and how could we do things differently, and coming up with these ideas. And so I was like, yeah, I'm on board. Let's do it tomorrow. Like when we make a decision, it's go time, right? So
Yeah.
it did not happen that quick. Do not be fooled. But it was a big risk. We had clients who loved what we were doing and who were going to be shifted to something completely different that they didn't ask for. Nor did they really even know that that's where we were at. We just kind of did it. And a lot of our guests loved Easton and I as stylists. So they just came along for the ride and learned along the way. And then since that has happened, we have started to build this community of sustainability and like-minded people who have become our target, have become our market. And it is the funnest thing to be able to just be surrounded by those people all the time, because you learn something so different from somebody who is in a sustainable industry or interested in sustainability that comes from a whole different realm, like a world that we can kind of all like team up together and just be excited about the shifts that we're making.
Yes. And this is something key. I want people listening, like if you're having that same type of worry of like, well, are my clients going to be okay with this? What, like, they really love what we're doing right now, and how is that
Yeah.
going to translate? You had the same experience that I did. Like, I
Yeah.
made this huge decision based on my core values and what was important to me.
Yeah.
My clients, we were totally traditional. I mean, I had like always that thought of like, let me reduce as much as I can,
Mhm.
but the options were so limited that I had to think outside of what our industry did.
Totally.
But as soon as I made that decision and I started to switch over, I had lots of clients, much like yourself, that were like, okay, we love you. So I guess we're doing this, you know? And then we did have a few clients where they're like, no, I
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go find another place. And I'm like, that's okay. But
Totally.
that freed up so much time and energy. And we created a community where people now like come to us specifically because
Yes.
their values align with ours.
Yes.
And they can't find that a whole lot of places. So it has
No.
created a whole new level of connection with our clients that I'm so glad we made the jump. And it sounds like you all are too.
Yeah. I completely relate and couldn't agree more.
So let's talk about what, this looks like from a salon owner's perspective. And then we can go into like from your stylist and then from the clientele. Like, tell me a little bit about that experience and what changes you made to support your stylists and your clients.
Well, as a owner, so this is a niche thing. We had a large team before we made the shift, and it pretty much dwindled down to Easton and I. Not every stylist is going to be on board with a decision like this, and that is fair. That's fine. California was also going through some law changes in how we could pay our staff, so that may also have been a factor at that time, or maybe people just were ready for a change. Who knows? But that did affect um, the team as an owner. But slowly we have found like stylists who are interested in sustainability and who do care about a cleaner beauty environment. And so that has also been nice seeing that shift, although it's scary as heck, right? Like this is scary that like that whole experience is nerve wracking. And then on top of that, Easton and I could not find a product that was refillable, toxin free, um, zero waste, and still performed as a professional product. Like, again, we scoured, we tried to find something that we could use behind the chair and couldn't find it. And so, as much as we were like, we're not going to open a product company, that is not what we signed up for. Guess what we did? We opened a product company because, like, if when that has pretty much rang true multiple times over a career where we thought we're not going to do that, and then we get faced with the decision that we decide that that's what we're going to
Never
do.
say
So
never.
right, that was also nerve wracking too, as the owner of like creating, founding this new line and creating something that we are so green and new in that space, and we are still growing a lot in that, which is really exciting. But um, so I think, you're also on this side of it, 5 years in, like we have a team that I do feel responsibility for creating that safe space in and being that leader. And that sometimes holds a lot of weight. And um, there's the good sides to it and the difficult sides to it, and can be challenging. But ultimately, um, the days where I get to walk into the salon are happy days for me.
Amazing. So tell me a little bit how you navigate some of those challenging, like, I mean, it really is stressful, and it's a lot of responsibility as a salon owner, and to make these decisions and to start a whole product line. How do you navigate those challenges, not letting them get to you, but keep pursuing them?
You do wear so many hats, and this is where I feel so blessed to be able to work with my brilliant best friend. Like the partnership that we have, when we started, we went to business school together years ago before we opened, and everybody said, don't have a partner. It's a bad idea. Don't have a partner. Don't be 50-50. Like everybody tried to talk us out of it. And of course, there's been like, we've had to figure some stuff out along the way, but we went into this committed to like, we're marrying each other, right? Like we're in this for the long haul. We're going to have the talks. We're going to celebrate each other, and we're just going to figure it out. And um, she reminds me of who I am in my heart on those hard days. She's the person who lifts me up and reminds me what a badass I am. And like on those days where I just am defeated, and I try my hardest to do the very same for her. And um, that for me has been such a blessing.
That's and it's such a key component. So for anyone listening too, like I don't have my Easton. It's me.
I wish you did. I really wish you did.
And that's okay. So I don't have a partner to connect like that with.
Yeah.
And I have created those relationships with other like-minded people who
Yeah.
do have my back like that, who hold me high, who remind me of who I am and my mission and the bigger picture. And then
Yeah.
also go, hey, no, no, no.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
this is not what we're doing. This is
Yeah.
going way off track. Let's bring it back in. So if you don't have your, partner Easton, you can create your own. You can find people who are like-minded, who will support you, care about you, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So put yourself out there and connect with people. And that's what I love so much about a little plug here for the green beauty community, especially if you're in the holistic. Like if you're listening to this podcast, you probably care about some sort of either clean, green, or sustainability in your business. And if you haven't already tapped into the green beauty community, please, I highly recommend you do that. I'm a co-founder. We created this entire community online specifically for you to be able to connect with people who are like-minded, care, and will be there. So like, please do that. It'll be in the show notes as always. But that's where we connected.
Totally.
And it's such a beautiful thing. So you can find those people out there because I don't know about you. I mean, I've been in the industry for 24 years, and truthfully, up until just the last few years, I haven't been able to have that. And a lot of stylists and salon owners struggle with feeling alone, and
Mhm.
they struggle with feeling like so much competition. And I mean, I've tried to talk to salon owners around here and they're like, no, you're going to steal my business or you're going to steal my whatever. Like, I don't want any of that. The things have changed a little bit. And in this community, it is not like that. It is open books. We are not gatekeeping things. And that's the way this industry gets to go and start shifting out of that mindset of it's us against each other. We're
No,
all
yeah.
supporting each other. Like there's literally so many humans on earth. You can be busier than you could ever imagine. Every
We can all
single,
be.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I love that that's how you're able to keep going because that's the only way I have been able to as well.
I love that you touched on like them holding you in a safe space and being able to say the hard things. Like
Yes.
that is one of my favorite things. So she's a Scorpio, and she is the best at like, I love ya, And I got to tell you this. And so I think that is really, really important to be able to hear those things, especially when sometimes people see you as this leadership role and they feel disconnected from you. They feel like um, maybe you're not seeing or hearing them. And that may or may not be the case, but it's always a good, it's one of my favorite things about her too, is being able to have those tough conversations.
Yeah. Well, this actually brings up a great segue to your stylist, because how many do you have now currently?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Amazing. I love that. So as a salon leader, and especially a holistic, conscious salon leader, you said earlier you felt a responsibility. I feel the same responsibility for my staff, like for my stylist, and creating that safe space for them and keeping that open communication so that, yes, we are the leaders, we're running things, like we are ultimately making the decisions behind the scenes. But how do you connect with your stylist to make sure that they feel heard and seen, and that they're a part of this bigger picture, not just they're there, just performing the services, but like actually a bigger part of it?
I think that's interesting. That is one of the things that I play with a lot, is like when we first opened, I was like, I want a community that I can invite to my dinner table and we can all sit down together. And then there became a time where that may have not been the best decision to get that close, because it kind of brings you more into that friend zone as opposed to like that leader zone. And that was a little difficult to get through. So now it really is like, I want you to feel seen, I want you to feel heard. And you may not completely understand all of my decisions that I make as the leader, and that's okay. But know that like I am considering everybody's highest good in these decisions. And one of the things that I think is my strength is I am a good listener, and I do feel like I can see people, and I can listen, and then you say something and then I want to dig deeper. So I'll ask this question that brings more stuff up. So if nothing else, I feel like they know that I will listen, and in a very respectful way, be able to agree or disagree. But because you don't know it until you don't know. Like you have to give grace to those stylists, because they don't know what it's like to sit where you're sitting. They're not sitting there. And I've learned that really a lot as being a parent, or talking to another person who's becoming a parent and doesn't know like what it really is like to be a parent, right? Like it's the same type of thing. So I apologize about that. I'm gonna put that on silent.
I didn't hear anything. That's okay.
Oh, okay, good.
You're good. Thank you for joining today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed the training. And if you have any questions about anything I talked about in today's training, or honestly, anything I've talked about on this podcast, I want you to go to www.cleanbeautybiz.com/advisor. Or you can click the link in the show notes where you can ask me any questions you have about this episode or anything else that I have covered on this podcast. Again, that link is www.cleanbeautybiz.com, and this amazing little tool allows you to get your specific questions answered by me 24/7.
So it's that for me, I think is definitely a challenge. Like, um, in making sure that we're still elevating our stylists and creating the professionalism and the environment that we want to create, and still having those tight connections without crossing lines.
Yeah. No,
For
it is
me, that's a
definitely,
challenge.
yeah, it is definitely a challenge. Because there are always those lines that are very hard sometimes to see the lines.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then especially if you have any stylists who are closer, who were friends before, or family members and things like that. I know that I have dealt with that. One
Mhm.
of the things that has supported my journey in that is creating a really, really, really great foundation with structured
Mhm.
systems,
Yeah.
because that is the base and this is
Yeah.
where we're working from.
Yeah.
And once we have that understanding that, yes, like we are here together, I support you, I see you, I hear you, I want you to be a part of this. Like,
Yeah.
if you have ideas, like bring them to me. We
Yeah.
may not be able to implement everything. And like you said, we may not agree on everything. And ultimately, it is my business, because this is that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
We stand up as leaders and we run, and sometimes you don't want to, and that's why it works so beautifully. That's why I loved and I chose to have a commission salon versus booth rental, or yeah, because I have this bigger vision and I
Yeah.
know that we can do it together. So creating that communication and this feeling safe to for them to come and speak up and say, hey, I have this idea, or I'm not really loving this. And then also on the other end of safe saying, like, this is why I chose this, and this is what we get to do. How, I hear you and I see you, but this maybe not be the right place or time for those things, right?
On a like a practical level too, like we were commission based and then the laws changed, so now we're employee based.
Hmm.
So same thing, like we wanted the responsibility of ownership, we wanted the responsibility of entrepreneurship, and chose to do that specifically. And like on a practical like application, we have check-ins, we have monthly meetings, we have um, biannual evaluations where they get specific one-on-one time, and we ask those questions like, tell us how we can be better, tell us what the evaluation goes both ways, and that
Hmm.
specifically is the time where we create that time to make sure that we're checking in with them and giving them the space to talk.
Yeah, and that's so important. And we've seen a lot of kickback recently within the industry of salon owners not being open and being kind of strict, and this perception that we're just trying to take over or like make all the money, which that is such a joke. We take on far too much responsibility, and the money is not, we're not in this to make millions of dollars. We care, right? And that's a difference.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to take on that responsibility to set those things into place, to have that open communication, to have expectations, and to also be human and allow people to like have that criticism back on the owner and see like what can we do better. And the support goes both ways. So I think it's one of those things that like it kills me every time I see people talking about how their salon owners taking advantage of them and everything, because unfortunately there's a ton of them out there that do, and it's giving
Yeah.
us all a bad rap.
Yeah.
um but not every salon owner is like that. We're not just trying to be greedy and take um money, or like just make you the workhorse. It's not like that at all.
That's why I think like you don't, when I said like before, you give them grace because they don't know what it's like sitting in your seat. They also don't know like what it takes to run that business. Like whatever your commission, so whatever commission the house takes for the salon doesn't go into your pocket. It goes into running the business. And maybe they know that, maybe they don't. But that's something that we try and be transparent in, and offer them also benefits so that they see, like, they get sick pay, they get vacation pay, they get an education budget, and all these things that we hope that they realize that they're investing into the business and into themselves. And I'm not driving a Lamborghini, I'll tell you that much.
Nope, I got my Honda Pilot that hopefully will just keep ticking. Okay, well, I love that. It is transparency. It is being open and honest and allowing it to be both ways, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your stylist and how they're able to, like, because excuse me, because they are in this holistic environment. They see everything that you're doing, they align with it. How are they doing their day-to-day differently than a traditional salon? What are some things that are really important, like for them to protect themselves while they're in a salon? Just any of those topics we can go down.
Yeah, sure. So we can sit here and talk all day.
I know, right?
I am a stylist as well. So is Easton. So we are on the floor with them. And they are doing things like on the zero waste side, like we partner with Green Circle. We do everything we can to not send anything like the least amount that we can to Green Circle, but like our hair clippings go in our compost, in our green bin. We wash our foils and recycle them in our municipality. We try not to buy the lightener that comes in plastic. We buy the lightener that comes in a tin. The minute details in those practices. The California law says that you can't use reusable gloves, but if you're in a place where you can use reusable gloves, use reusable gloves. Pop those in the wash machine and they get all clean and you're not going through a bunch of gloves. But so for those things that we can't get away from creating, we use Green Circle. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, I am a Green Circle salon as well.
Okay,
yes.
great.
Yep, we're on the same page.
So I think, most salons will send a box a month is what they say on average. And I think we send 2 a year.
Yeah, us too.
We mostly send them leftover color. And then, so on top of that, like the safety side, if my girls are doing something with color and they don't have their gloves on, I run over, tap them on the shoulder and say, "Where are your gloves?" Coming into this industry, I've been in this industry for 21 years, and I went through a journey with my hormones after I had my babies, and they were just all out of whack. And my naturopath, I had gone to a naturopath because I was having a hard time finding answers elsewhere. And she said, after running some tests and doing some labs, she said, you have so many xenoestrogens in your body and you may need to stop doing hair. And that was so hard to hear. I literally couldn't repeat those words to my husband or my best friend because like I had to take a week to process it myself before I could even like share that with somebody to be able to figure out what next, right? So, and it just happened to be around the same time that Issa and I were talking about going to zero waste. So we decided to do them together and it made sense. And so I am very much an advocate for stylists protecting themselves, especially if they want to have longevity in this career, because you're not going to have a chair for your people who care about sustainable and green beauty to sit in if you're not the stylist behind the chair, being able to perform those services. So like I said earlier, is so disappointing to me when I see these very high level stylists who are leaders in this space who are toning at the bowl and not using those gloves. And I just think, and then maybe they don't know. Granted, again, like they very well couldn't know. They probably don't know. Um, but I just, every time I think, you're showing all these people
Yeah. Well, it's
that they
hard
don't need
because
to use gloves.
we don't know what we don't know. And
Absolutely.
unfortunately, this is one of the things that we like I am, really advocating for with my community, with the podcast, with my academy of teaching people what I have found over the last decade of being a holistic, clean, and sustainable salon,
Yeah.
but also the green beauty community. Like, this is what we're standing for, because we've got to start breaking into some of these traditional ways that we've always done things and start
Mhm.
just raising that a little bit of awareness. Like, this is not a
Mhm.
hard thing, but if you don't know what toxins are seeping through your largest organ, your skin, then you don't know, right? And we have, or at least in our salon, like, we are a low toxin color line. So yes, we're low toxin. That doesn't mean zero. So even with my
Does
girls, I
not.
remember one of them saying, but it's low toxin. I'm like, yeah, hun, but we're in it every day. So even the little bit of toxin that's in there, like, let's protect ourselves. You've got to wear
Yeah.
gloves. You've
Yeah.
got to have, we have lots and lots of plants in our salon to help clear
Mm.
out the air. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, but just knowing to protect yourself. And it's not shaming others, it's just raising that awareness. And I get that same going, oh, just please put the gloves on, please, like,
Mhm.
open some windows or get some plants in there or whatever, especially during that era of keratin. Like, we never did the keratin blowout or the
Dang,
Brazilian blowout,
no.
but yeah, it's rough because we don't know and we're just taught to follow the trends and what's coming up next. But we
Yeah.
don't think about the repercussions of what that does to us. Our
Mhm.
clients are only in it for what, a few hours, once
Mhm.
every 4, 5, 6 months, right? We
Mhm.
don't know. And
Mhm.
we're in it every single day, sometimes 8, 10, 12 hours. I know some stylists still working all those hours. That is that compound effect, but in the negative, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this earlier. Like that is exactly for the stylist. Like the guests experience it every now and then. Um, but what they experience the most at home, right, is what they go home with is the shampooing a few times a week and the conditioning a few times a week and then the sprays and all of those things. So I
Mhm.
think, and even those, like you're using that shampoo every day as a stylist in your hands, like it's not just the color, it's also the products that you're using. Those do affect you if you're using them every day.
Yeah.
Um, so that was, those were big, big changes. And my naturopath ended up coming and she's like, okay, let me go check out these products. And she came in and she gave us a stamp of approval. And I was so like, okay,
Yeah.
yes. Hmm.
It's so crazy. And your health has been better.
Yes.
I
It
can't
took
tell,
time, right?
of
You know,
course.
like it's a journey. It doesn't change overnight, but absolutely, like where I saw them, my hair was so thin and it just fell out and it was so fine. I have thinner hair already, but like it's growing back. It's getting back to its like original normal state. I have all these little flyaways everywhere. And I just like, even in those, so if my hair is having that experience, I'm just so excited for what's going on inside of my body because that's where obviously all the work needed to happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of nuances and we've hit a lot of topics. So I know that it can sound overwhelming, but just like we said from the beginning, it's the small compound effect. So just the one little thing that stuck out to you the most in this conversation, or any of the conversations that you come across, like just the one thing, start there and then start taking steps. Cause I don't know about you, but like I started just with clean ingredients
Mhm.
in the salon, because I started just cleaning out like the cleaning products, because that was
Oh
the
yeah.
easiest thing for me to switch at the time. And then
Yeah.
I got into all the clean and lower toxin ingredients for the products and for my color. But naturally, then I started thinking, oh, let's reduce the waste, let's reduce the plastic. Like it just led to it. So over the decade, I've added a lot, and there's still a lot to be added. But what would you say, like right now, the number one piece of advice you could give anyone starting their journey as a clean, low toxin, sustainable salon?
It's not hard and it's not expensive. I think those are the two biggest myths that, in fact, we have been even more profitable in this decision. And it's and the hard difficulty factor is just making new systems, and change can be uncomfortable, but it's not hard. It's just a new system.
Yes, new system. And to support you on that uncomfortable feeling, find yourself your Easton.
Yeah, yeah. And
Someone,
I am happy to be a resource. Like, please reach out. I am not gatekeeping.
mhm,
I am happy to be a resource of how we can grow, how we can do better. And again, I don't know everything right. I don't never everything perfect. I'm just doing the best with what I know is available now and today. Um, but
yeah.
I'm happy to help ripple this out and spread this. So
So, anyone listening who's ready to take that leap or has questions, you have three options. Reach out to Easton. I mean, sorry.
she's great too.
I'm sure she's
She'll be
great
happy
too.
to help.
I keep saying my own Easton. So, reach out to Melissa and reach out to her, reach out to me. You know, I'm always here. My DMs are open. I have tons of resource here on the podcast alone, but I also have tons of resources on my website. I'm an open book. DM me. But then you also have the Green Beauty community. And all of those will be linked in the show notes. So it's really just, it's okay to feel that fear. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's just choosing the one step that feels maybe a little less comfortable, and do that step and reach out, because we are here. I truly feel so blessed and excited to be able to continue things like this, like talking with amazing humans like yourself and all the others who have been on the podcast, and sharing the information and being a part of the Green Beauty community. Like, this is so refreshing and exciting that this is where the industry is going. So use those resources, reach out and let us know. And if there's something you want to hear on the podcast or a topic, message me. I'll do so. If I don't know how to do it, I will find somebody else who does. Because that's what we're here doing, right? We're really creating this whole new normal for the salon
Yeah,
industry, because it's possible and it's not hard. I love
not
that you
hard.
said that. And
Not
same for us. We make way more profit because we are connecting with clients on a whole new level that was not possible before.
no. And also the whole concept of like you're reusing stuff that you already have. So you're not like your consumption level is lower as a salon, as a business as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
You should see the wall of glass bottles that I have for our refillery. Like so many,
And it's
because,
so pretty. The
oh,
apothecary style is so pretty.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I know I like drool over your pictures because you've got a beautiful space. Next time I'm out in San Diego, I've got to come visit you.
Please do. Please, what area are you in?
Virginia.
Oh, yes. Please do. Please
I'm
do.
like
Please
way
do.
on the other side. And if you're ever in Virginia, you got to let me know too, so you can come out and check out
Absolutely.
the salon.
Absolutely. I do want to take a minute to applaud you. I think that I can see the passion that oozes out of you, and you're doing such great work. And I just thank you so much. I think it's really important, and thank you for doing
Oh, thank you. Like I said, I really do. Like it almost gets me teary-eyed because it just is. It's such
it.
a cool place to be, and I know that it's possible, and I just want others to know that it is possible and that we have so much possibility and control over how our business is running. We just got to learn new things and step out of our comfort zones because the possibilities are great. And that compound effect that it will have in your life, your stylist lives, your business, your profits, but also in the clients
Yeah.
and ultimately the planet. Like we only get one. Let's take a little bit better care of it, just with
I
some
don't want to
little
make mama
stitches.
mad.
No, we've already seen what is possible. Like
I don't want to
I
make mama
drove
mad.
I drove this weekend to take my daughter to wrestling, and we drove through 5 states. I saw sunshine within 4.5 hours. So it was just like that we hit. So it's not like I went 12 hours. I saw sunshine, rain, sleet, snow, and windy, 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 like all within a 4.5 hour span. I was like,
Oh my
what is
gosh.
happening? This is not normal. We know
Jeez.
that we're making a difference on both ends. Good when we're doing things like this, but there's a lot of things that are creating very, very terrible things in our environment.
Yeah.
When we start taking that one little step, that one little thing makes such a huge effect later that if we all just made one effect, we could actually reverse the damage that we've caused by just
Yeah.
changing one thing, which is crazy to
I
me.
was so excited during COVID, like the the things that seemed like to be happening. And I was so hopeful that um, those things maybe would continue to
Mm-hmm.
be the new norm. But I think it also took us back a little bit in some ways. I was bringing containers. California, if you come to San Diego, you need to go to a taco shop. It's the best food you've ever had here in San Diego. No other place does it like us. But so I'm a burrito girl. I always go and get my burritos. And I would bring like my cloth napkin and my reusable bag and have them wrap it in that. And then afterwards, they were like, nope, we're not going to do that anymore. So I think in some places there was forward momentum. And then in some places there was a little bit of slide back. But I really have been seeing a lot more forward momentum that I'm really excited about, even at the state level, where I know like once there's a shift, usually in one state, other states will make a shift and follow along. And so I'm really, really excited about some of the things that are happening.
Yeah. And everything that you're doing is making a difference in just raising that awareness, even with your clients who then go and vote and are
Yeah,
conscious about what's actually happening. So,
yeah,
literally, all of that ripple effect makes such a big difference. And we
yeah,
saw during COVID, I don't remember the numbers or the study. I'd have to go back and look for it. But didn't we see a huge change in what the effects were? Like it had slowed down
yes,
dramatically. And that was with
yes,
only a few months. So
yeah.
imagine if we make some changes, and we don't have to go back to crazy COVID times. Like just take some of the good that came and implement those, and we can actually make a big difference in reversing all of this.
Yeah, we
Oh
can.
goodness, we could have a whole nother podcast about
We
this
could.
specifically. Like,
I
here
told
we
you,
go.
I could talk all day.
Me too, obviously. Like, this is actually one of my favorite things about the podcast, is because we do get to have these real conversations. Like, none of this is scripted. We're just two people who, like, we didn't even really get a chance to chat before, other than like
No.
a DM here and there. And these are just real conversations of support. Like, this is what support looks like. I've never gotten a chance to meet you, but we're both supporting each other and growing this this movement in the industry, and we are in the trenches together. And it does feel like a sister and brotherhood of people who really do come together, regardless of where you live, what you're doing, my salon, your salon, all of these things. Like, I know that I could call up any people that I have met through these communities and be like, hey, I'm going to be in your town. Like, let's go get lunch. Let's go
Yes.
meet up. And I would have across the country plenty of places to go meet up with like-minded people who care and support, and just are wonderful.
Sounds like you need a road trip.
Oh my gosh, I do. I really do. I have been working so hard. Like, there's so many things happening in the back end that it is definitely time for a vacation and a road trip. So, well, thank you again for being here and for just doing such amazing things. Everyone listening, thank you for, like, if you're listening here at the end, I truly appreciate it. And especially because we're wrapping up at 1:11 Eastern time. So, beautiful number to wrap up.
Yes.
And check out everything in the show notes. Make sure you come back next week to get more knowledge. Like, we're open books here. So ask the questions, show up, and we will provide whatever you need. So thank you again, and keep doing the amazing work.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Salon Owners Holistic Blueprint. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow and subscribe. Until next time, stay inspired, stay passionate, and keep thriving in the world of holistic beauty.